Is this going to be safer, or is this going to be healthier than taking birth control? And quite honestly, I lumped the both of them together. Birth control is slowly pulsed hormones throughout the month. And then when you do the morning after, you have a giant dump of hormones into the body to cause you to miscarry and bleed. All right, welcome to another episode of the Jacque Show. And this topic today is going to be another controversial topic, because why the heck not? And the topic today is going to be on Plan B. And so this is a question that has been posed where women are starting to wake up now and realize that the birth control myth or the birth control is actually causing more harm than good. And so I applaud women for being able to wake up from that. But when it comes to what is the alternative to that, and the alternative to people not becoming pregnant when they're not ready to, instead of being responsible and instead of fixing the hormones and figuring out your fertility window, they're jumping to Plan B. And so there's a huge craze right now in influencers and movie stars and all these people who don't have the time to get pregnant but still want to be sexually promiscuous. And they're just dosing themselves up with Plan B. And right now they're like, oh, there's no harm, there's no side effects. Well, we're going to talk about what it can and what it does do. There have been Plan Bs that have been created in the past that have gotten taken off the market. There has been different bodies of research where things have come out and then they've gotten buried. So this is a topic that we're going to talk about for an ethical purpose as well as a physical purpose, what it's going to be doing to your body. And so to start, let's start ethically. So I've gotten crap on TikTok, and quite honestly, I don't care. I'm a guy, obviously. I identify as that because I am that. And when I talk about hormones, or I talk about periods, or I talk about pregnancy, there's a lot of people who will come out of the woodwork and be like, what the hell do you know? And I know a lot. And it's unfortunate that I know more about the female body than most females do. And to me, this is a severe lack of education, whether it was in health class or from our parents not being able to teach, our daughters or sisters what true health really looked like through your hormones. I mean, again, women are basically just guinea pigs through this entire process. But when you have your first period, right? When you get your period, you're like, oh, this sucks, or you get cramps, or you get acne. And the first thing the medical doctor wants to do to you is control you. They want to control you. They want to put you on a birth control, right? They want to control you to make sure that you don't get pregnant. And then from the thought process, parents are like, yes, I don't want to have a teen pregnancy. I don't want to have a teen pregnancy or college pregnancy. I want to make sure that I get all my affairs in order before I have that chance to get pregnant. And that's the first no-no that's taking place. And then there's parents, again, they're like, well, I don't want to put my daughter on birth control, but I do want all women to have access to Plan B. And what people don't realize is this isn't just an overnight fix. Now, does it work? More often than not, yeah. I mean, there might be a percentage or two chance that it doesn't work if you don't do it at the proper timing. But when you come from an ethical standpoint, number one, when you have sex and you accept a donation, right? Sperm meets egg, you have conception, you have life. You're killing that. So from an ethical standpoint, you're killing life. You're stopping life because you choose to not be socially acceptable. You choose to not use your freaking brain and say, you know what? I'm fertile right now. And so what I want to do is just not have sex or do other things or use a fucking condom instead of killing life. And so what medicine keeps doing is it continues to give permission slips to keep acting like a slut and continue to potentially get pregnant and kill it and kill it and kill it and kill it and kill it. Or you get on birth control, same thing. You're throwing off the hormones. Morning after, I remember back in college, people would be like, oh, I just take a whole week's worth of birth control. That's my morning after. I don't have to do the walk of shame going into the store and asking the pharmacist to open it up for me so I can go kill a life that I've created because of my bad decisions. And so what's happening, or what should be happening, is we need to wake up as a society. We need to say, listen, we have a lot of women that are out there that are suffering. A lot of women are suffering because their hormones are completely chaotic. And for that reason, it makes it a lot more difficult for somebody who does want to track their cycle to be able to do so. Now, we have different apps. We have, I believe the Whoop does it, Aura will do it, where it actually increase and decrease your body temperature and can track when you're ovulating, et cetera. And you want to watch that ovulation window because that's when you're really going to be fertile. But women's hormones are just all over the place. So going back to something that I say all the time, parents that are out there, all right, adults, I mean, you're kind of a lost freaking cause. You keep doing all kinds of dumb shit. I'm talking about children. How can we say, all right, you chose this life, you chose to do this for yourself, but let's protect the children who are growing up. Parents, when your daughter gets her first period, give it a couple months, make sure the period is there, make sure it's accessible, and then take a look at doing a Dutch Plus test. Take a look at the hormones, take a look at the adrenals, or do a cycle map. Map out the entire menstrual cycle so you can help your daughters not to have sex, but to be healthy. And then you educate, because listen, I have a daughter, I have a son. I know that there's going to be sexual temptation for them. It's probably going to be easier than ever with just swiping left and right now. But we have to be freaking parents at the end of the day. We need to teach our kids responsibility. If we say, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, what's a child going to do? They're going to freaking do it 100% of the time. I don't need a research study to confirm that. I was that kid. Don't do it. All right, I won't do it while you're looking. I'll do it behind your back. So what these people are doing, again, we as parents, we need to make sure that we're properly teaching our children about actual facts of health, sex, hormones, not this transgender bullshit, but the actual physiological hormones that you have as a man and as a woman. There is no in between. There is no confusion. There is no switchover. That's not healthy. That's clinically, mentally insane. So for the purpose of this, I'm talking about biological females and biological males, but really just biological females. Figure out how to track that cycle. Figure out how to track your ovulation. There's so much stuff out there. Is it a hassle? Maybe. It's a couple extra steps. You get your hormones right, and then guess what? It becomes incredibly easy to see when you are fertile and when you are not. All right? Now, going into the adults who love themselves some they love themselves some festivals, some orgy parties, sex parties, promiscuity. I'm not sure if I said that right. They like to be promiscuous. These people are going around and accepting donations from other people and then jumping to the plan B afterwards. So again, ethically, you're killing a life. You're also being you're being a slut. You're throwing your body to everyone just for attention. Usually it's coming from a sense of insecurity, and you need validation, you need significance. So maybe before you start having sex, maybe you figure out how to fulfill yourself, not sexually, but internally, how you fulfill yourself and feel like you're worthy, and you're worthy of more than a one night stand. Instead of just, I want to have sex today, or I want to do this today. Again, you're filling void time and time again. And plan B is just going to continue to allow you to fill that void of unhappiness and lack of significance until you get into a shitty relationship because you still don't have core foundation set of worth within you. And then you're going to constantly be on either, again, birth control or plan B. So let's go into the statistics here. I did plenty of work while I was on my plane ride going to the Wild Man and back. So we talk about different symptoms here. So I have the symptoms of some of the most common plan Bs that are out there. And then we're going to dissect what that means when you have these symptoms. What does it actually mean physiologically for your body? So the number one side effect is going to be nausea and vomiting. Okay, nausea, vomiting. Now they say that the majority of these side effects will be gone in a couple days, 2-3 days or so. However, you're spiking hormones in your body. You're going to be causing nausea, vomiting, which is then going to cause inflammation to the body. All disease starts with inflammation. And if you continue to do this, you're introducing chemical inflammation into your body every single time that you do this. Okay, and if you ever hope to have children later on in life, doing this thing time and time again, I think from a spiritual component, you're probably going to have issues with infertility, because why would God grant you a child when you killed so many? And that might be harsh, but it's true. Okay, in my mind, in my opinion, it's true. Okay. Nausea, vomiting. So there's going to be inflammation. There's going to be inflammation directly down into the stomach, down into the intestines, small intestines, large intestines. So what's that going to do? It's going to spike growth of bad guys, bad inflammatory things. Cytokines can happen. It can go systemic. If you have leaky gut, it can cause infections to continue to ravage your body and make things worse time and time again. Dizziness. Now, this can be due to a couple things. It can be hormonally related, can cause an issue with blood sugar, can be just causing brain issues, inflammation of the brain. Lack of oxygen is one of the main reasons people will get dizzy, or blood sugar dysregulation. Fatigue, so it shuts your body down. Headaches, again, inflammation of the brain. Breast tenderness, because it's going to be hormonal, it's going to be increasing your estrogen. Bleeding in between periods, so it shows that you're already screwing up your menstrual cycle, and if you continue to do it time and time again, you're not going to have a normal menstrual cycle, so you're going to rely even heavier on the Plan B pill. You're going to have low ab pain or cramping, go figure, and it can last a couple days or so. Okay, some of the most common prescriptions are going to be Plan B. There's Mirena, Kyleena, I believe, are the other two main ones, and then they contain what are known as progestogens. Okay, progestogen is an artificial or a synthetic hormone, which means your body does not recognize the hormone. It is man-made, it is synthetic. What does this remind us of? Maybe the risk of bioidentical hormones that are foreign to our body and this increased risk of cancer. And so that's what we're going to see here. We're going to have an increased risk of cancer because you're spiking these hormones. Now, if you already had hormonal problems, then you dump hormones into your body. Your body's gonna be like, what the hell is going on? I can't keep up like this. This is just too much for me right now. Okay. And then the other thing with this too is we talk about feedback loops. So if we dump a ton of fake progesterone into the body, then our body says, oh, okay, we have enough progesterone right here. So, if we have enough progesterone coming in from the outside, we don't really need to make our own progesterone. So we're going to throw off our hormones. We're going to throw off our cycle. Right? When you use like a Progon B, which is a plant-based bioidentical that your body actually recognizes, if you miss one day or do too many drops in a given day, it can throw off your complete cycle. And that's something that your body actually physically recognizes versus the bullshit synthetic that some man created. Right? So again, knowing these things is very important. Side effects of just progestogens are going to be menstrual irregularities, headaches again, mood changes, acne, hair growth, change in liver production, which is another thing that they said be careful with, is you want to monitor your liver enzymes, because when you do it, you're causing harm to your liver. Your liver has to process through something it does not recognize. It bogs down. It has trouble. Okay. Increased risk of breast cancer, breast tenderness. Okay. We clearly are impacting what's going on with the breast tissue, cardiovascular disease, blood clots. Okay. And high doses can cause low sex hormone levels because sexual dysfunction and increased risk of bone fractures, and it causes sexual dysfunction, increased risk of bone fractures. Okay. Now progestogens are agonists to the progesterone receptor. So agonist means that it stimulates it. Antagonist means it stops it. So it has an important impact on uterus, cervix, vagina, breast, and brain, all of which those areas are impacted like we talked about with the side effects. So even without taking this product, those areas will be affected, whether you feel the symptoms or not. They're going to be inflamed. They're going to cause you issues. And again, you have to live with yourself doing this to yourself all the time. All the time. Okay? Biggest thing is the contraindications. If you have an increased rate of breast cancer, if there's like a familial history of breast cancer, or if you have you yourself have a history of venous thromboembolisms. So if you have any type of blood clotting issues or thrombolus issues or embolism issues or any of that, stuff, it's going to increase your risk of those events happening. Okay. Now they impact a certain pathway. It's a CYP3A1 or 3A4 pathway. Okay. So when you run the Dutch test and you run some of these other pathways, you'll see which pathways are going to be impacted. All right. Now, where, again, this gets a little bit tricky, okay, is there was a French study that was done, and it was estrogen plus progesterone had no increased risk of cancer, but estrogen with progestin, okay, or progestogens increased risk of cancer by 69%. Okay, so estrogen plus progesterone, recognizable progesterone by the body, not an increased risk of breast cancer. Estrogen with these progestogens do increase your risk of cancer by 69%. So every time you're doing this to yourself, what are you doing? Are you increasing your risk of cancer? Yes. Okay. Now these pathways, all right, the CYP3A4 pathway is interfered with a couple different things. Okay. Phenobarbital, phenothiazine, rifampicin, and glucocorticoids. Okay, glucocorticoids are big. Common medications that interfere with or competitively inhibit this pathway are going to be semitide, tamoxifen, quinolones, and fluoxetine. And so there's going to be different medications as well that are going to be causing you to have issues with your hormones, with your risk of cancer. And so the posed question, the follow-up question would be a couple things. Well, one, the reason that people are doing this is this going to be safer or is this going to be healthier than taking birth control? And quite honestly, I lump the both of them together. Birth control is slowly pulsed hormones throughout the month. And then when you do the morning after, you have a giant dump of hormones into the body to cause you to miscarry and bleed, or for you to just kill whatever it is that was inside you. So I lump them both together. Follow-up to the follow-up question would be, well, what do I do then? How do I have sex if I don't want to use condoms, if I don't want to be safe, if I don't want to do this? One, be fucking responsible. It's your body. If you want to do morning after, then live with that ethically. Live with that, with what's going to do to your body. But don't be pissed off when you're 60, 50, 60 years old and you have breast cancer. And you're like, where the hell did that come from? Or you hit morning after, you hit plan B all the time, right? You never fixed your hormones. You never fixed your diet. You never fixed any of that thing. And all of that built into this messy picture of who you are going to become. So it may seem like, oh, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. Okay, birth control and plan B, I lump them both together. So what do? Fix the hormones. Track your cycle. It's really easy to do. Okay, it's really easy to do. There's so much technology that's out there and it's not that expensive. You can get ovulation strips for like dirt cheap. Track that. Okay, or look down and see if you have any vaginal discharge halfway through your cycle. For those of you who don't know, ovulation takes place halfway in between your cycle, or it should. As long as you have proper progesterone, you will ovulate. So if you're at a 28-day cycle, ovulation takes place on day 14. Okay, 30-day cycle, day 15. It's really simple. And then you basically space out and do the research on, space out your fertility window and knock that off the calendar. Don't swipe right or left or whatever it is to get a date on Tinder. If you do, be fucking responsible. Don't be a slut. Okay? And again, it's easy for me to say because I'm a husband, I got a wife, and I've got 2 kids. Well, with the rate of infertility going through the roof, why would you want to throw off your hormones? If you ever want to have kids in your life, why would you be willing to kill life until it's convenient for you? Really. And I am super passionate on this particular topic. I won't watch certain movies with certain actresses. Greatest Showman was completely ruined for me. I thought it was a phenomenal movie, but then I found out that actress got an award and thanked women's rights to be able to give her a fucking abortion so she could film this movie because she wouldn't have been able to do it if she was fucking pregnant. How selfish and disgusting, and that behavior is rewarded. So I hate this stuff. Okay, and we're not going to get into the whole Roe versus Wade thing. I think you could probably figure out where I fall on that. But my point of my topic today is to talk about the plan B. Women, if you are out there, okay, and honestly, and you're out there and you're talking about female empowerment, what is more empowering? The ability to abort a child, the ability to kill conception, or the ability to know and master your own body? Know and master your own hormones. You know when you're going to cycle. You know when you're going to ovulate. You know when you're fertile. You know you can have all the fun that you want. And guess who's controlling it? You are. You are in control. Plan B, birth control, abortions, they don't put you in control. It's like it's like Joe Biden having the nuclear codes, and you just let some idiot walk in and just hit what'd you hit, Biden? I hit a red button. What does that mean? Right? It's reactionary. It's reactionary medications. And if you think that it's not going to catch up to you, I promise you it will. Okay? And it's unfortunate, but again, how do you track this stuff? We don't have long-term studies of what the damage is going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years of use of the Plan B. Because when we expand out 5, 10, 15, 20 years, there are so many variables that come into play. So when we have an increased rate of cancer of 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 people get cancer, and then you're on Plan B or you've been taking Plan B, well, were you just going to fall into that statistic anyways? Were you just going to be one of the ones who are going to get cancer anyhow? Right? It's so difficult to track this stuff. Think of it logically. Think about what it's doing to your body. You're letting a man-made medicine destroy your body out of convenience for you. And then it's going to catch up to you and you're going to be pissed. I promise you. I can see commercials coming out in 5 years, 10 years from now saying, what is it, the mesothelioma? We were just talking about asbestos last night. Have you or a loved one taken Plan B and developed breast cancer? You may have a class action lawsuit. Call this number, right? I can see that stuff happening in the future. So women, if you want to truly empower yourself and you truly want to make the right decision and in your health and empower you, fix your hormones, fix your gut, which will fix your hormones as well. Make sure you know when you ovulate. Make sure you know when you cycle. Make sure you know as well, like, hey, this was a stressful month. I can expect that my cycle is going to be a little bit off, so I'm going to compensate for that. Okay? Truly empower yourself and find somebody that you fucking love as well. Stop giving away the goods for free. Find that self-significance. Give it to somebody who truly matters to you. Being sexually promiscuous might seem fun, but you go home alone every single night. That's not fun. Okay? And I don't care who you are. We were meant for companionship. You can have your girls. If you want to hang out with oh, I'm good, I got my girls. But you don't have a man in your life. You don't have a rock in your life that's going to be your ride or die, that person who's going to help you through those tough times. You got girls that are just going to be superficial, because most girls are. Again, I'm going to get so much shit for this podcast, but let's be honest, they are. And I got a freaking gem in Megan, because she's not crazy. She's slightly crazy, but crazy in a good way. And I love you, Megan. But no, honestly, we need companionship. We need to stop giving away the goods. We need to stop doing this, men included. Okay? And there's like, oh, it's easy for a man again. Well, men, be fucking responsible. If you're about to have sex with a woman, she's not on birth control, use a fucking condom. Okay? Use one. Yeah, they have all the technology out there now that you can make it feel like you don't have one on. Find whatever one that is for you. Use protection so that all of the stress doesn't go on the woman. But again, when you have a relationship, these are things that you can talk about versus a one-night stand. I just want to have fun. I want it to feel good. I want it to feel alive. I want to feel risky. I want that adrenaline rush. And boom, you wake up the next morning and you screw yourself up. So hopefully this podcast will resonate with some people. It's probably going to piss a lot of people off. Honestly, I don't care. Needed to be addressed. Stop doing that to yourself. And then if you need help, side note, if you need help with your hormones, you're like, well, I've been doing that. I realize my cycle is completely screwed up now. What do I do? Contact me. We'll test you. We'll figure out where your hormones are at, and we'll figure out what we need to do from a lifestyle perspective as well to build a successful life for you. And whenever your partner comes into play, you will be right. You'll be healthy. You'll be natural. You will be in charge. You will be empowered, and you will be highly sexy to the opposite sex because you'll have confidence with you as well. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Have an amazing day.